But Dave, let's move in number 6 through 15. If you are joining us on YouTube, thank you for coming into our big board. If you want to check out number 16 through 25, you can go ahead and do that. It'll be either above Dave in the description. It'll be somewhere, or you can check the YouTube page. It'll be there as well. But Dave, let's continue 6 through 15. We'll start with yours. Let us know who you got 15 through 6.
Sure thing. At number 15, I have Sekou Demboya playing internationally. 14, I've got Nickeil Alexander-Walker, guard out of Virginia Tech. At 13, I've got Romeo Langford out of Indiana. 12, DeAndre Hunter from Virginia. At 11, Darius Garland, obviously hurt. At 10, Nasir Little, people might be mad at that, just from the last video. 9, I've got Rui out of Gonzaga. At 8, I've got Bol Bol. 7, Keldon Johnson out of Kentucky. And 6, highest riser so far, Jarrett Culver.
Yeah, no, Culver is definitely a high riser, as he's one of mine that you'll see in a second. We're at 15. The still injured has not come back, but will be coming back soon. Lewis King, forward from the Oregon Ducks.
I don't understand why you're so high on that boy.
I think that he'll be something special. Not like, top 5 special, but I think he's going to be something. Like, he, to me, is this year's Lonnie Walker, where it was like injured at the beginning of the year, will come back, we'll be doing something special. I've got him at 15. Then Nasir Little, one of my biggest fallers. He fell from 5 all the way to 14 now, where Nasir Little fans will be upset at me for that. Then Sekou Demboya, the forward from France, at 13. He only fell 1 because Lugens Dort, the guard from ASU, I've got him at number 12. Another faller of mine, Romeo Langford, was at 4 in my first one. He's now at 11, the guard from Indiana. Then another riser, Rui Hachimura, forward from Gonzaga. Bol Bol falls a little bit. He'll be at 9, the center from Oregon. DeAndre Hunter, the guard forward from Virginia, at 8. Jarrett Culver, the guard from Texas Tech, will be at 7. And then the guy we are going to talk about first, Dave, Keldon Johnson, the guard forward from Kentucky. And this is a guy, after I saw his game against North Carolina, where he put up 21 points on 7 of 11 shooting and hit 4 of 7 from beyond the arc, I was like, you know what? This guy is probably going to rise in my big board. And that he did. Did he rise a lot, though? No, he only rose from 9 to 6. So he didn't crack the top 5 yet. But what are you seeing from Keldon Johnson that makes him a top 5, top 7 prospect in the NBA draft?
He's a 3-and-D wing whose shot keeps getting better as the season goes on. Honestly,
so the key is shooting. That's what we're seeing here with these prospects. If you can shoot well, you'll be drafted well.
And if you can't shoot well, your name's Nasir Little and you're falling on our draft board. Sorry.
Shots fired.
Same with Romeo Langford. True. You can't shoot well. We'll talk about him later.
True. Yeah.
No, I mean, he's got what the NBA wants right now. He has the ability to play really good defense. He can give you volume scoring from the outside. Good size. He's like 6'6" with a 6'8" wingspan, I think they're projecting. So honestly, so far so good with him. And he's getting all the spotlight games because of where he's playing at, which is wonderful for his draft stock. I think he's going to have all the chances to prove himself. And like you said, as long as he keeps lighting it up from the outside, in my mind, money. Because early in the season, his shot looked a little sketchy, a little hesitation in there. Not quite a full hitch, but a little hesitation off. And at this point, I'm like, okay, he's going to be like, I've already got him being like, he'll probably be like, I don't want to say like 8 times in the sentence. There's a good chance he could be a second or third option on a very good team in the NBA. I don't know that he has that number 1 quality to him, but I feel like he could be solid second man in the NBA.
And for me, mainly what it comes down to is right now the production that we are seeing, especially like the last 3 games. Utah 24 points, 21 against North Carolina, and the North Carolina one was big because to me it's like you're going up. Of course, I know you played Duke to start the season and you scored 23. When you play those big opponents, you're stepping up. Like, yeah, a VMI, he only had 9 points in that for the 25 minutes that he played. And some people might see that as a negative. Like, how do you not have more points in that game against a lesser team? And I feel like the stock for Johnson is going to rise if the shot gets better and because of who Kentucky is going to play moving forward. It is going to be hard to not step up for some of these games. He's going to play a good Vanderbilt team. Alabama should be good. You've got Auburn, who is a ranked team. They're going to play Kansas on January 26th. They're going to play a team like Florida. They're going to play Tennessee, who's a top 5 team. They're going to play Tennessee twice. So for me, that is going to be a really good thing moving forward for him, is that you don't have to worry. Yes, there might be some of those games, maybe like a South Carolina, a Missouri, where it's like, okay, this is a lesser SEC team.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he doesn't pop off as brightly as he did against Duke or North Carolina. But I can't wait for the stretch that he has Georgia, Auburn, both those on the road, then Mississippi State, who's a ranked team, and Kansas, because I'm assuming him to score bunches in that four-game stretch.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think one of the nicest things that's kind of come out of the season is the fact that Quade Green transferred out or is transferring out, because it gives him more of an opportunity to run the offense. And I think it definitely a great opportunity. Unfortunate that, Quade's time with Kentucky didn't end well for him, but he was just kind of defensive liability out there entirely. And yeah, so his loss, Keldon Johnson's gain. And I think you're absolutely right. He'll have a chance to really kind of take over the entirety of like the next couple of games. No problem.
See, there's one thing, though, that I don't want to say worries me.
Yeah.
But so I've got 4 guys pulled up on the compare players for Tankathon. Kevin Porter Jr.,
Sure.
Jarrett Culver,
Yep.
DeAndre Hunter,
Yep.
and Keldon Johnson. And
Sure.
when you look at Keldon Johnson, if I just scroll down all the stats, he doesn't have a single green button or green bubble
Indicating
next
he's the
to
best.
anything. Those two go between either Kevin Porter Jr. or Jarrett Culver. Now, the other two, DeAndre Hunter and Keldon Johnson, kind of put the orange one between the two of them. They're lowest on the totem pole in some of those. Do you think that it's going to be, because we're going to split hairs all through the draft, and of course I've got DeAndre Hunter at 8, you've got him a little bit lower at 12.
Yeah.
How important is defense going to come into Keldon Johnson's game? Because we talked about with Jarrett Culver last week. He can put up the offense, but he can also put up the defense.
Yeah.
You look at a guy like Kevin Porter, who you've compared to James Harden, especially with that step back
it's a step
that
back.
he has.
Same thing.
DeAndre Hunter, the thing we talk about most with him is defense. Is Keldon Johnson going to win out easily against a DeAndre Hunter because he's got a better offensive game than a DeAndre Hunter? Or is it known mostly for his defense like Hunter maybe?
I mean, DeAndre Hunter is known for his defense, but at the same time, he's also like going to end up guarding 3s and 4s in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like he can probably guard like 1 through 4 potentially, but he's going to be guarding bigs more so than 2s, 100% in my mind. Keldon Johnson's going to be able to guard 2s and 3s. Like they're just different types of players. The difference in my mind is that DeAndre Hunter has a much lower ceiling, much higher floor than Keldon Johnson, because he's older. He knows what he is already as a player. He's going to be 22 by the draft time. Like the value for that isn't very high. Meanwhile, Keldon Johnson's going to be a guy who a lot of people are going to like because guess what? He's not that old. He's going to be 20. You got 2 more years of development to go. So while his numbers right now might not be as high, this is the NBA draft. This is all about potential right now. And Keldon Johnson's got that potential to continue to grow. I think his shooting will become more consistent as time goes on. As I said, like his shots continue to improve just this season alone. So I really look forward to seeing what he can do growing that. But I'm not concerned about like defensive concerns one way or the other between the two. For me, it's purely age.
Yet again, like
DeAndre Hunter's going to guard 3s and 4s.
Because you mentioned before, Jabari Parker, who drafted Jabari Parker to play defense.
No one. But at the same time, like my point is just age matters and they guard different positions. Like Hunter's going to be a 3-4. Keldon will be a 2-3 tops.
Yeah, and Hunter, the only one out of these Keldon technically listed on Tankathon as a 2-3, but really, like you said, would be guarding the more of those guards rather than Hunter, who might be going more towards the other way.
Yeah, Hunter can guard. Yeah.
And then you got Porter Jr. and Culver, who are 2s listed on Tankathon.
Yep, pure.
I want to talk about one guy, though, in Bol Bol, where he's a guy where you and Sean did a segment comparing him to KP. Go check that out. Still relevant. Really good segment.
Yep.
However, when it comes to Bol Bol, he's missed a couple games. And there was a game that we were watching. We had Oregon and Boise State on Saturday. And we were like, oh, man, Bol, why is he not there? And it's like, oh, because he's injured with his foot injury. He's missed 3 games. The question I want to ask with him is because he's a big, because of one of the things that I've liked with him is how he could run the floor as a big, because of his body in general, how concerned should we be with a foot injury for a big like Bol Bol?
Very concerned, unfortunately. Like, it's one of those things, and everybody says the same garbage, because basically if you have a big man who's over 7 feet tall, like their knees, their back, their ankles, their feet, everything's taking more stress than the body's used to. Especially a player of his stature. It's kind of different, though, because he doesn't have like that huge like weight going down on him. So like
he looks like a stick out there.
He's still kind of a twig out there. So like that's some bonus, some benefit of the doubt for him. But at the same time, just 7-feeter, problems with anything lower body. I don't want anything to do with it. So yes, it's concerning. No, I'm not bringing him out of my top 10 yet. But it is going to continue to lean that way because 1 foot injury turns into many feet injuries, turns into ankle, because then he's got to try to change the way he leans maybe. Like, it's one of those things where everything starts from the base up. And again, we hope it's just something little, and I hope it's not something that carries out throughout, his career. But anytime you have a 7-footer, you have to be extremely careful about injuries.
Well, and the thing that really made me concerned is this article's from a couple days ago where Oregon coach Dana Altman was asked about it. They have 2 players, Bol Bol and Abu, who are injured right now. And he goes, and here's the quote, "Abu continues to try to get healthy with his ankle. I'm not sure when he'll be back. He'll not play Saturday against Boise. So I'm not sure if we can get him back to start conference or not. It's kind of whenever the ankle's ready to go. Ball continues to be evaluated." And I'm looking at that going, all right, you've already missed 3 games. You're continuing to be evaluated. For me, I look at that and I go, I'm right on the same page as you, obviously, because I had him at 9, where it's like I'm not ready to have him fall out of my top 10 because of what I know he can be when healthy.
Yep.
But I kind of almost get this, I've read this story before, kind of a situation where it's like injured big, gets to the NBA, injury. And I know that the extreme case that everyone thinks about is Greg Oden, because he was a top pick, and obviously you picked him over Kevin Durant, so people are going to remember that. But I mean, I look at that and I'm like, I am extremely worried for Bol Bol's stock because of what type of a player he is, mixed with what kind of an injury. I think the only other injury that could have gotten me more worried is a knee. Like, it would go, knee would be the most worried,
back.
Foot is the second, well, back too. So back, knee, foot, and then ankle is how I would kind of list those. An ankle, I could be like, okay, maybe he rolled it or something, but a foot is bad because you need to obviously step on your feet in order to support your body. Knees are very important, but yeah, a back
Knees
would have
important.
been
Good call.
A back would have been very bad as well.
Honestly, like for him, I'm just scared that like Hashim the Beat style, like just someone who didn't grow into their body and would get bullied around the NBA, and that's obviously the worst case scenario. I know that, but also couldn't stay healthy. So it's one of those things where worst case scenario, I could see like at least Greg Oden was like a brick shit house. Like that dude was jacked. He was 35 at age 20. You know, it's just Hashim the Beat's a scary version because he was 7'3". He was a blocking monster. He had no offensive game. So we're talking a little polar opposites as far as gameplay, but like body size and shape, that's what I'm reminded of.
He was a skinnier big man as well.
He was massively skinny.
Yeah. Last guy I want to mention though is you kind of mentioned him earlier in Romeo Langford. This is a guy that I was hyped on before the season because I expected him to be a little bit better. than what we're seeing here from Indiana. But walk us through why you have Romeo Langford where you do on your big board, because you're a little bit lower on him than I am, where you have him at 13, I have him at 11.
Can't shoot from the outside. That easy, people.
Dave's like, good night, everybody.
Like, if my one takeaway from today is your draft stock in the NBA is based on how well you can shoot from three, that's true.
21% from three. Like, that is almost, you know whose numbers that's on this year? That's like DeMar DeRozan numbers this year.
It is, which is a great comp for him because he works really well in the paint and in the mid-range. Like, he can get to the basket, but he's not going to be someone who's going to stretch the floor out for you. And if you don't have that ability at the 2, which I'm now wondering, is he a 2? Is he a 3? I mean, a lot of people still project him out to be a 2, but he can get buckets. Don't get me wrong. Like, he can score points on anybody, but his lack of 3-ball makes it a concern because you watch defenses they can slack off him on the outside and they can pick him up when he comes into the paint and try to crowd him there. And it's something that at the NCAA level he can still work with because he's still a better athlete than most of these kids out there.
Yeah, and when he drives to the basket, he can body up some of these smaller guys.
But when it comes to the NBA, that's a huge red flag.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing that I also kind of look at too is he's not a guy, like, it would be different if it was like, if he had a skill set that was like, okay, I can still dish out assists and be a facilitator, where it's like, you know what, I might not need a outside game because I'm putting up like 6, 7, 8 assists per game, where it's looking like I look at his numbers.
There's not many people putting up 7 assists a game in college.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, in general, maybe
that's
putting
really
it
high
per 36, but like I'm looking at it to where I'm looking at some of his assist numbers where it's like there are some games, Northwestern and Penn State, only 1 assist. Could you give me a little bit more than just one? And it's
give
like,
him the fair credit on the other side. He has had multiple games with 4 assists.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing I'm looking at,
I know you're trying to paint a picture here. I'm just saying.
The picture that I'm going with is like what you were saying is if you can't shoot the 3, what are you, like, in the NBA, what are you going to fall on? Because in the NBA, if you can't, like, what are you going to be then at that 2 or that 3, and where are you going to fall? Because for me, it's like, yeah, we might put you at the 3 because you're a little bit taller and your body's there, but if I want to put you at the 2, I can't really do that because you're not shooting well enough from 3, but I can't put you at the 3 because I need you to have better assist numbers and be more of a well-rounded player.
Yeah.
And that's where Romeo, it's going to fall into, like, what type of a player does he want to be at the next level, and what kind of player is a team going to draft him to be on their basketball team?
Probably a 6-man. I'll just say
You think so?
I think that's most likely in my mind. Is he's gonna be, you know, like Lou Will without the 3-point shot. You know, he can get to the basket. That's fine. He can score. His defense has been hit or miss. I just don't know. He doesn't have a complete game. He needs a lot. He needs to work on a lot, and that's really disappointing because he was someone who was ranked 5 or 6 coming into the season. I want to say I know he was pretty high.
Well, I had him at 4 in our first big.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of like the top 100, but you know, it's disappointing, but like he's really been exposed as far as what his play style is. And
like it's weird too because besides the 3 number in this game, like I even brought it up when we did a fast break. It was like the game against Louisville.
Yep.
He had 21 points, 4 assists. Cool, I'll take it.
Oh, absolutely.
Went to the line for 9 of 14, but the only thing that was kind of like that negative was he went 0 of 3 from beyond the arc. But it's like you don't expect that from his game.
Right.
So you can't really get mad that he is 0 of 3. His best shooting day was, 2 of 3 technically against UC Davis, but then he's at a 2 of 5, 2 of 5. So the most he's ever made in a game is 2 3-pointers for the entire game. I wonder what is he going to be, and if you use the DeMar DeRozan comp, I'll even put it this way. Yes,
that's
DeMar DeRozan is a top player or a really good player in the NBA, but is he that player that is going to get your team over the hump to win a championship at the next level? Especially when we're moving more towards in a league where it's like, if I make the point all the time, if Paul Pierce was in the league now, Paul Pierce would not be the same player that we remember him for being because he was more of a mid-range guy compared to a 3-point
Still
guy.
made threes.
He made threes, but he wasn't like his jam was that elbow extended.
I know.
It's like Sean made fun of me when we were playing 2K. Dave, what's the worst shot in basketball?
Yeah.
The long two, not the 3-pointer. But any guys in this segment you think we should mention before we go on into our numero cinco? Our top numero cinco?
No. I think Darius Garland, just want to give him credit because he's not going to fall. In my mind, like, he's just so freaking talented. I don't care that he's hurt. Like, I'm just going to hold out. He's going to stay in my lottery range until I see the workouts, basically.
Yeah, I mean, workouts will be big. The other guy that I wanted to bring up right here at the end, because you mentioned him to Sean and I when we were out to dinner, a little bit of Sekou Demboya. Is he a guy that kind of just sits where we kind of have him at the early teens, kind of low for this region, or is there any way he can rise up being overseas? Because you even mentioned like the way they're using him.
They're not
overseas.
They're just not right now.
It's like,
really
you
frustrating.
want to be a top pick here? We'll tank your draft stock.
Yeah, I mean, in the EU, a lot of the leagues over there value age over talent in cases, or unproven talent, because he is unproven. And I think that's one of the biggest things that he's going to have to overcome is, being a young kid, being over there. And of course, he's played over there for like 4 years now. But the point is that it's like he's not able to take over a team. He's not going to be like, everybody wanted to find another Luka. After what we're seeing now, Luka, oh, best Euro from over there, let's go for that guy. Like, no, he is not Luka. He's not anywhere close to what Luka is, but he's a solid player. The problem is that he's not been getting consistent minutes. He's not their number one offensive weapon. He's a defensive guy with a great wingspan who is active. So a lot of it is just you're going to have to watch the highlight tapes from Europe, and it's not super fun to watch EuroLeague basketball for everybody. So, I mean, Scott's going to get their money's worth out of him. Like, it's one of those things where he might not go super high in a lot of people's boards because we're going to have limited minutes and limited situations. But I do believe he has all the tools necessary to be a quality NBA player.
My thing that I just hope for him is that he doesn't turn into like what we've seen from Frank with the Knicks, where it's like really...
Frank is 20.
No. What I'm saying
going to freaking
is
choke people because they're killing him publicly. And I'm like, he's a project. Well, let the boy be a project.
And that's what I'm saying. I hope that when it comes to Sekou, that people don't draft him too high thinking they have more than what they've gotten. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I'm glad you brought up Luka, because Luka is the exception. He's like the Greg Oden to the ball discussion.
You have an exception to the rule. And that's what he is.
He was young, but he also proved himself, and it's like he deserved to be out there. It'd be like if you take Michael Jordan from like his late career in his rookie year body and saying, no, we're not going to play it because you're a rookie. Yeah, like it'd be stupid. Or if you had LeBron, because LeBron as a rookie was ridiculous, and you just said, nope, we're not going to play it because you're fresh out of high school and you don't know what you're doing yet.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see though.
Well, this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you think down below in that comment section about Romeo, Bol Bol, Keldon Johnson, even Sekou, because I threw him in at the end, and Darius Garland, who Dave wanted to throw out as well. Let us know what you think down below in the comment section.